Thank you for joining us for another episode of Black Educators in Dubai Presents our Tea Talks. And today we're going to actually talk about a little bit of welcome to Dubai. What does it look like when you first come into the life and you're an educator, you're getting off the plane, and what to expect? So I am your host, Jes'ka Washington, and I'm so glad to be here. I'm joined today by another two wonderful panelists. First is...
I'm Crystal Gordon. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia.
I'm Avraye Henry from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, and so I am being inundated with the peaches right now. that dirty South representation of what's supposed to be. Now, while we talk about that, we do have a little bit of some of the differences. And we are going to talk about the fact that, Crystal, you've been out here how long?
6 years now.
6 years. And Avraye?
Since August, so not very long. Less than 1 year, yeah.
So we're going to be able to see both perspectives, and we can kind of see how things have grown and maybe how some things have not grown. But we'll be able to kind of talk about it there. So let me just start with the very basic question. That you've been home. You are a U.S. educator, you have your degrees and your certifications, and you say yes to an opportunity in Dubai. You board a plane, you fly over.
Long flight.
You land. What is the first feelings? What are your first, just what's going on? What is your reality?
I'm thinking it's a whole new world. If I think back to how I felt at that time, you know, the Arabic on the buildings, the men in candors, the women in abayas, and the politeness of the immigration officer.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean I'm going to smile. Because I really don't know. And all I do know is what I have seen on the news. And so, it's just like, but it really was a whole new world.
Same. It's a whole new world. When you step off the plane, it's going to be hot. If you're coming out, it's going to be hot, so be prepared for that. But it was a whole new world. I actually experienced Dubai a little bit before I moved because I had a family member who lived here, and I came and visited him, and I loved it, and that's why I decided to come. But it's still a whole new world. I mean, visiting is definitely different from living. I will say that. You learn so much more when you're here for a long period of time, but a whole new world is a good way to put it.
Okay, so we're landed, we're there, you're here, and then we go to school. And I would say, before we even go to school, say, what is that like? After 1 week at your school, what should you have packed? Or what should you have bring? Or what did you wish you knew?
Yeah, bring the curriculum. Either put it in your Dropbox or put it on the flash drive. Because if the word curriculum means different things to different people. And if you didn't ask, how does this school define curriculum? You could walk in and be handed standards, and then you are expected to be the curriculum writer in addition to delivering the curriculum. So that's the one thing I wish after a week, because the sister was stressed. I taught 6th through 10th grade math, and it was just like, I don't even know where to start with these many different grade levels.
I agree. Bring your resources. Bring your resources. Make sure you have them. Don't come with expectations that your school is going to provide the things that you need to teach or whatever your role may be. Bring whatever resources that you have.
So, and then you said something about making sure your resources are electronic, because packing itself and trying to readjust to a whole new life, you have limited space.
True.
So everything that you can bring electronic, do you need anything school-wise that you need to bring over?
Electronically, I would say your plans. Your standards you can get online, but mainly your plans and your resources for teaching. That's what I would bring.
Electronically, let me think. I would say if you're bringing your attested documents, make sure that you have scanned a copy of them and you have that available, because some have pick up legs and walk. Not all. Mine was fine, but I do know that happened to a colleague. So any of your personal business, I would say make sure that you have that electronically, because you never know what they're going to ask you. Yeah. And if you don't have it, then you are, running around trying to get someone at home to go and do those things for you.
Yeah, maybe just create a folder on your computer, like your Dubai folder, and have your electronic passport, license, like she said, your attested documents. I didn't have an issue with that either, but if you feel like you might, then...
Well, and I was going to say, I'm being a little picky. I would bring manila folders.
Those are so hard to come.
It's because I was color coordinated. I had the red, the blue, the yellow, the green. I would have manila folders. So I will say that, and I think it's just a weird thing, even when you talk about organization, there's no 3-ring binders out there. There's 2 rings.
There's 2 rings. I have seen some 4. I've seen some 4. And the paper is different.
Yes.
Because we have letter and legal, and it's like A4. A4. I don't know which size you want me. I don't know. What's the regular size?
And it's nothing. I think that once again, you kind of have to look at who you are as an educator and what can you do and what you can't do and stuff. And I'm not the best organized person sometimes, so the manila folders, baby, they would work with me. And when I came here, I'm like, I don't have no folders. And I'm just saying, papers on top of paper. And so you do find ways to adjust. Yes. But I would say, like everything else, like you have the dry erase markers. I know there's rumors out there like, oh, you're going to need to have like the cute paper for the kids. No, there's construction paper. Yeah. There's all those things. But truthfully, to be out here, and Dubai is such a hub. That you can find what you need. And while you might not believe it, we do get Amazon. So, we get Amazon.
Shop and ship all day. And Souk is now owned by Amazon.
I love Souk. And so we're talking about that. So we get there and we are in the school now. And what do you need to know? Or what is now this new reality?
Well, my reality was we didn't have no LMS, no SIS, or any of those other initials. And so if your school does not have it, I would say be proactive. Have you an Excel spreadsheet, have you something where you're recording what you do, because there's going to come a time when the school is going to ask you for what wasn't provided. And you're going to be expected to produce it. So I would just be proactive in that way, depending upon what school you're walking into.
Yeah, I would say come with no expectations.
Okay.
It's a new environment. It's a new school. It's a new culture. You're really coming into their world. So you kind of have to remember that almost daily when it comes to certain things. So really just come with no expectations and have an open mind to see, number one, the state that your school is in. We have schools that are rated differently here. Yes. I know in the States, in some states, they have a rating like A, B, C, D. Here we have a different type of rating, whether it's weak, acceptable, good, very good, or outstanding. So just come with no expectations, assess the situation, and then go from there.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then I'll talk a little bit about, we talked about curriculum, and we said, come prepared and have your resources.
Yes.
Scope of sequences, pacing. You're looking at me like, yes. What's our role in that? What's your role in creating those things?
My role was I created it. And the thing was, there was no one to QC it for me. So there was no oversight when I came. There was no oversight. I walked into a school that my company was taking over as the management. And so the previous management of that school took everything. So the only thing we did have was A4 paper, and that was it. So everything else, the new management company had to buy. And of course, when you're buying from the U.S., as far as the textbooks and all of that, it's going to take some time to get here. And then it has to go through customs and all of this stuff. And so for me, the kids were still looking at me every day, expecting to learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
So those things I had to create it. I had to build a network with other educators.
Mm-hmm.
And saying we didn't have groups like Black Educators in Dubai at that time, so thank you. But I had to start using my network back at home to say, hey, this is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me out?
Mm-hmm.
Some things I had never done before. I had always used them, but I had never been responsible for creating them. So how long should I take to teach this? Because again, I taught 6 through 10. And so I'm primarily a secondary teacher. So now I'm teaching the babies. And I'm thinking, okay, how long? Y'all don't have this yet. Like, how long should I take? But I wasn't giving them enough time in order to learn it. Now, of course, the second year I was better than I was the first year. But that stuff I had to create.
And you have to remember also, being an educator and coming from the States, your school may very well look at you as the expert.
Yes.
You know, they're hiring you for a reason. They're paying you this money, giving you the accommodation for a reason. It's not just to live life in Dubai, but it's really, you're there for a reason. They're looking at you as the expert. And you have to remember that when you come in, they're looking at you as the standard. So they might very well need you to create things. They might not know what a pacing calendar or a scope and sequence is or what the difference is there. So just keeping those things in mind is important.
And I would say one thing. And I know sometimes we get in our feelings. We get upset. I'm just saying, if you create it, leave it at the school.
Yes.
Like, don't take all the stuff you created. Because the next person who comes in, they end up having to do it too. So leave it better than what you found it. Even if you don't mesh well with the admin and you like, I'm dipping, I'm out. Leave it for the next person, because it's not the admin who's going to suffer. It's the next teacher that's going to step into that spot.
Agreed.
So we're talking, that's true. And we talked about the curriculum and pacing calendar. One thing I think that really kind of, I don't want to say should be, is that when you're creating a pacing calendar, the school calendar now looks totally different. And you have to be open to ask questions on, what is this?
Yes.
But it was a culture day. Oh, okay. Is that a fair? No, that's a whole day. And it's the day before, because everybody has to prepare for the whole day. So it does change your teaching calendar.
Yes.
And you know, not only that, excuse me, not only that is a lot of our holidays here depend upon, we might have an idea of when they're going to be, but it depends on the side of the moon. And so it's almost like, is it not? Is it? So when you're planning, you have to keep those things in mind. That the holiday may be not this week, it may be next week. I don't know.
Ours was Prophet birthday. Because we had all plans to have Wednesday off, and all of a sudden
it's like, no, so it may change. Yes.
I would definitely say when you're planning to get with somebody who's been at the school, who knows about these different days and how that works, because it is important. You know, you got to remember that we're not going to have the same holidays that we have in the States. They're not going to celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, we might have the National Day holiday, which is a few days at the end of November, but you're not going to have the same holidays that we do. Our spring break, depending on your school, it may not be a week like how it normally is in the States. It may be 2 weeks. So
or winter break. It may be 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Because you know that's the conversation now. It could be longer. So you just never know. Or Eid. We would have no idea what Eid is. I praise God for Eid. But when you see it, it doesn't mean anything to you when you first get here. Because it's like, that's not something we have back at home.
And also seeing when the kids actually come to school and when they don't for certain holidays. So we're about to come up on Ramadan now. We haven't been here for Ramadan. Crystal, I know you have, so maybe you can speak more to that. But I know I've heard that some students, they're not going to show up during Ramadan. And that's a whole month of school that you need to make sure you plan for and prepare to make sure that you hit the entire curriculum for the school year.
Because you're going to, from my experience, you are going to lose that teaching time. And so one of the things when I had teachers map, I always made sure that they map. It said 36 weeks on that calendar. Nah, but we need to get this in 30 weeks because Ramadan is going to come. It's automatically going to shorten the days. And it's not just for the kids, it's for the teachers too. Because now we get to get out 2 hours earlier. You know, it's very nice. It's very nice. But you'll be getting out And so you are losing that time. So let's say you had those 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So now you may only have 30 minutes for that math lesson.
Right.
And so that is a tremendous adjustment, something you're going to have to kind of like jump over in your planning.
Yes.
Another adjustment is the time in general. I know schools have different timings for their classes, but I know at our school, the timing to me has been very short. I'm used to block scheduling where I have 90 minutes with my kids. Now I only have 50, 55 minutes, and to open, close, and do the lesson, that's a bit tight. But again, maybe you're used to that if you're coming from the States. But
I will push it a little bit further because I know that I'm talking high school, and being that I had the opportunity to look at all different levels in primary, you're seeing the same departmentalized in some schools, where the primary, a child in first grade is going to see 7 different teachers in one day,
and walk to the different classes. The teachers at my school, the kids do not stay in their classes. They transition just like the
so we're proud of you.
That's another thing we don't talk about. Yes, because that's totally different.
The kids move.
Yes.
Oh, okay, because we move, the kids stay.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that's very hard because for starting a lesson, like, and I think that was one thing when you plan. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna have the agenda on the board. We're gonna have this. You're gonna have your objectives up. I'm gonna have my do now, and such and such. And then wait a minute, no. You go from class to class.
Yes.
And they're not next to each other.
So it's not, I don't want to scare anybody.
No, it's just something
it's not like that at every school.
Yes.
But that is a question to ask in your interview for your potential school.
Yes.
Will I have my own classroom?
Yes.
Do not assume anything and do not expect anything. Because
and I will say this, don't have that be a turnoff.
Yeah.
Do not have it be a turnoff. We talked about this before, that just education out here is a growing and learning process.
Yes.
It is a way that you're going to have to adjust.
Yes.
And you're going to be able to figure out and get connected with other teachers and networks and say, how did you adjust to this? How did this work?
Because it's worth it. Living in Dubai, to me, makes it worth it. Now, I've had colleagues over the years that have come and just like, you know what, I'm going home. Because they could not make the adjustment.
Right.
It was just too much for them. And everyone is at a different place. For me, it was worth it because I knew my why I was here. And so I think that it's not, hopefully these talks are not, well, definitely these talks are not about you not coming or to discourage you. It's just to say, hey, let's be prepared and be flexible and open to seeing things differently.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. That we talked about the school, we talked about the education process and the curriculum in Ramadan, and you're going to be in a classroom and all this other stuff.
You might have your own.
Let's talk about just you as the girls. Like, hey, you're here. Your first week in Dubai. What was one of the aha or adjustments that hit you right off the bat? Like, what did you have to prepare yourself for?
Girl, don't forget to turn on this outlet. Because if you forget to turn on this outlet, you're going to be looking crazy. Because you plugging up your phone and you're trying to figure out why my phone will not charge.
Make sure you turn that switch on.
You got to make sure that you turn. And that's something we don't really deal with back at home. We don't have the on-off switch at the plug.
Right. So
the breaker, yes, but at the plug, really?
Yes.
Yes.
But see, okay, let me say, I'm not disagreeing because that to this day, you just know like your curls are plugged in. You come in 10, 20 minutes later.
It's not it's cold and you ready to put on your hair.
But I would say that if I was a parent, I might appreciate it because that's a safety switch right there.
Yes, absolutely.
The problem is I've been caught up with the safety switch myself. So it's not that. We also mentioned though, it took me forever to realize that the water does get hot.
Yes.
Like
water
but you
does get hot.
What do you
gotta hit that switch.
There's a switch.
On the
it's like a light switch just for water. The water has its own light switch.
Yes, it does. And the switches are outside.
Yes.
And so when you go in the bathroom, you need to make sure you hit it before you go in. And
then this is a bad one. And if you ever have company or guests, you better tell them the rules of the switch.
Yeah,
because
shut the switch off.
Don't you touch that switch off.
Because then when I'm ready to take my shower, it
ain't
take too long to heat up. So yeah.
So that's funny. But while we laugh about that, what other pieces, like just little bitty things, is it all about just Dubai being just little pieces of new reality, or is it like this is a big culture shock and it's never going to be the same?
It may be a culture shock, but I think that it's easy to get adjusted to. And that's just from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like Crystal said, she knows some people who it wasn't for them. Mm-hmm. And I the same. I just think that, again, it goes back to having an open mind and realizing that things here are going to be different from your country, mm-hmm. and realizing that this is not your country,
yes.
and knowing why you're here. Yes. And if you can just focus on the reason why you're here, I think everything else will kind of fall into place, and maybe you'll embrace where you are a little bit more. I like a lot of things about living in Dubai. One thing, I like how late things stay open. Mm-hmm. Like, you can go to the mall on like a Tuesday and it's popping at like 11 p.m. at night. I like the delivery service.
Absolutely.
Anything you want, you can get delivered.
Did you say Krispy Kreme?
Not Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme on speed dial. I'm not
for the record.
I need it.
No, I'm just giving a record for those people who want to have the donut conversation about whose donut is better. There's only one donut here in Dubai. So if those people who say Shipley's and
Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah,
nobody goes Dunkin' Donuts for the donuts. It's a coffee. But I'm just saying, Krispy Kreme
is king, baby.
It's here.
I'm just letting y'all know.
But anything that you want delivered, laundry, they'll come get it for free. They'll bring it back.
You know they'll deliver gas.
Yes.
For your car.
Baby.
Gasoline.
Yes.
I swear. They will deliver gas for your car. And it's one thing because we don't even have to get out of our cars to pump gas in Dubai.
No.
Now they changed it in Abu Dhabi, but in Dubai we don't have to get out. Right. So imagine the first time I pulled up to the gas station, I go get out, and the man's like, "No, this way you go."
No, special. I mean, like, who's special? Special.
And then they also will bring an ATM to your house so you can get money. And you don't have to go out.
Look, you schooling me right now. I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Well, I'm gonna say the reality because we stay in the same complex. For me, mine was the car washer. Washing my cars.
Yes.
Baby.
Yes. Anything you want done. Yes. Anything. Whether you want somebody to come in and cook for you, they can do that. That's going to be cheap. You can have a nanny every day, and it's affordable here compared to the States.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Personal experience. Whether you want somebody to come in and clean your balcony, or somebody comes and washes my car 3 times a week.
Yes.
For the whole month, I'm paying like 120 dirhams.
And when
it's like
40 US dollars. 40 US dollars.
And the thing is, you don't have to take it anywhere. Mm-hmm. You just tell them where it's parked, and they go and clean it.
And I'll say, because one of the things that caught me up is that I had a major problem with my computer. And I Googled, and I found the address, and I drove to the address, and it was like this building, and I couldn't figure out where the office was, so I called. And he was like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm outside the building." He said, "Why?" And I'm like, "Huh?" He said, "We come to you." And I was like, I took a whole morning trying to figure. I didn't even think to call because and really, guy came, sat there, figured out the computer, had to take it overnight. And I will say that's the safety.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're used to, because when people say, "Oh, I'll just bring the laundry later," and they will leave the laundry and come back a week later for the money. Don't go nowhere without my money. Like,
that's
no.
Right.
Yeah.
But here you just get used to, like, let me just give this to you, bring it back. Let me just give this to you, because there is such a safety and a trust, and people will do the work that is expected that you do. It don't always work as fast as you want it to do it, but they will do it. And that piece is just really, really a blessing. So there are so many good things about living.
There are.
And I'm not even going to say live in Dubai. I think there's so many good things about experience life in other countries.
Yes.
And you have to be able to know that you're open to be able to do that, or different things. And there's the funny little things that are different, and there's these big things that you like no patience. Like this is what we doing right this moment. And we talked about it before. It took me forever to figure out how to get to the bathroom because I would say, "Oh, where's the bathroom?" No, miss. I was like, "This is the rudest country. People can't go to the bathroom."
They don't say bathroom. They say toilet.
Once I put toilet in my language.
And you'll see that even when you come here and you step off the plane and you're in the airport. It's not going to say restroom, washroom. It's going to say toilet to
toilet.
And the one that I catch myself doing, I say yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
I don't know what, and I feel so bad when the phone brings up yes, yes. Like my mother would cringe at my grandmother.
You know my favorite one, same. It's like you ask them for something and they give it to you. It's like, no, I want. No, same, miss. Same. Okay. Well, the first time I remember I was in the Carrefour, and Carrefour to me is like Walmart.
Yes, and you need to know that.
And so I went to the Carrefour, and my total was $59.90. And so I give the lady 60 dirham.
Oh,
and my hand is like this, and she's like, because I'm expecting my dime. Like, where is my dime? And she's like, okay, bye-bye. And then she goes to help the next person, and I'm having a full-on meltdown. Because I'm just like,
change.
she didn't give me my change. And after a couple of times, and I realized they either round up or round down.
Yes.
They don't.
That change.
They're not about to give you no change. And then when you have change,
you don't even know what it is.
I just be like, here, take. I just put the change in my hand. How much? Okay,
yes.
here,
I don't know. I don't know what's nickel. I don't know what's dime. I don't know this. I don't know the big one is a dollar.
That's all I know. And it's not even a dollar. It's a difference.
That's it. When I do, I feel. Okay, that's it. So this has been actually awesome. I appreciate the fact
Thank you.
Thank you for having
So
me.
let's just
Tee up
for another tea talk. We'll be back with more episodes, but just welcome to Dubai. This is the life. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Jes'ka Washington.